guys, what's going on? It is Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. How you guys doing? Thanks for joining me. It's going to be a little bit of a longer episode because the Bandit is back. Okay, well, the Bandit is here. She's finally arrived after the recent buff, and we're going to talk about the 5 top decks, including the Bandit in them right now. You can see them on the screen. I have enlisted 5 of my pro friends to help me share some replays with you guys. Again, because it's a longer video, I will also include timestamps for you guys of every single match, so you guys can come back to the video if you want to and kind of get a feel for how to play these different decks using the newly buffed Bandit card. So what do you guys think of the Bandit? Are you guys a big fan of her? Have you played her since the buff? Now, I gotta tell you guys, yesterday balance changes hit yesterday morning, and only her dash was buffed. It wasn't until today, I believe early afternoon my time, that we actually saw the Bandit HP buff take effect, which was a 4% increase to her hit points. So now she is fully buffed, and I gotta say, every pro I've talked to so far is really, really keen on the new Bandit. Remember, she only costs 3 elixir, and that's a lot of value now. It might have just vaulted her above the Knight in some archetypes. Today, we're going to discuss 5 different decks, as you saw in the beginning, starting with this giant lightning baby dragon beatdown deck. This is actually very similar to the deck that was used by Guanek to finish 1 overall last season. Of course, it has the miner as well, and now it has the Bandit as well. So let's watch UniEmily, who is also a perennial top player on the leaderboards, and we're going to see him absolutely destroy using this deck, using the Bandit. And I gotta say, the Bandit is just, you can notice the dash is just so much more effective. As a matter of fact, we're going to see a couple replays in today's video where the player puts her right in the pocket after 1 tower is down, and she gets right into that dash, and she almost so quickly makes contact with that tower. It's almost like dropping 3 musketeers, not in the sense of how much damage she does, but in the sense of the opponent has to react really, really quickly, else the Bandit's going to make contact, doing a lot of damage on that tower. So I really like the Bandit now, and so do all my pro friends here. So that left tower is now down to 16 HP. What we're going to do is 2 replays on the first 3 decks, and then if we have time, we'll do 2 replays on the last 2 decks, Graveyard and Minor Poison Cycle. And if we have time, we'll do 2. But you can see Elite Barbarians, nothing really major to stop the Bandit, Giant, and Mega Minion push there. Mega Minion is going to reach that tower, and 1 solo Mega Minion, if you can have him close to full health, is going to do a lot of damage on that tower, and that's exactly what happened there. Now we have Goblin Gang. Defensively, obviously, you're going to rely on the Goblin Gang against tanks. You're going to rely on the Baby Dragon, and of course the Mega Minion as well against Splash, Baby Dragon, Mega Minion on tanks as well, high HP units. And offensively, you essentially have the 2 kind of win conditions in the miner and the giant, and then you have the fast, new, speedy option of the Bandit. The Bandit and the miner still make an unbelievably strong tandem for only 6 elixir. It's actually a pretty strong push, and it absolutely has to be answered by your opponent here. So at this point, he's going to go ahead and sacrifice his left tower, and he's going to go all in on that right tower. The Bandit placed behind a tank is just so strong, and again, guys, I mean, she's always been 3 elixir, Ash. It's nothing new that she costs 3 elixir, but I just think it's worth pointing out that, 3 elixir for everything she's bringing to the table now, and even that HP boost, it changes small interactions. How many shots it takes by an Ewiz or an archer to take her down, it lets her live a little bit longer, and I think that's what we needed. Even against a tower, now it's going to take 2 more shots from a crown tower at tournament level standards to take her out, and that just buys you more time doing more damage. So I really like the buff to the Bandit. I think she's a real strong card in the game now. So let's move on to the second game. I do want to do 1 deck at a time here, but I don't want to repeat what type of decks that I show you against. You can see here a lot of players in the clan because I am highlighting 5 different players' gameplay in this video. So, and as always, guys, if you have feedback to the format, Ash, maybe, hey, five decks, dude, maybe a little bit too much for me. let me know in the comments, guys. First hour, I read everything, and I try to respond to all of them too. So check that out. So here we go. Going to start off again in the beginning. Starting off with a giant in the back isn't the worst thing here. Giant, obviously a 5 elixir investment, but look at this. We're going to go into a giant of our own. Now, these are the only, this is a great ladder deck, by the way. It's also a great challenge deck, but if you don't have Miner for whatever reason, you can sub in either a Hog Rider if you want that 2-win condition deck, or you can sub in something more defensively oriented. You can do anything from an E-Wiz to a Knight if you want to. So there's really, that spot is kind of like a flex spot. Obviously, Miner is the best because what great synergy the Miner has, again, with the Bandit. So the Bandit here just making work, almost taking out that Furnace. And again, now that she gets into that dash quicker, guys, I mean, it is, you have to react fast. It's almost like the Dart Goblin where you just have to account for her, and you have to account for her really darn fast now because that dash is almost immediately once she locks onto her first target inside her line of sight. So this time we're going against a more traditional giant beatdown deck, and you can see the opponent puts their giant behind the king tower, so we're going to go ahead and pressure the other lane, the opposite lane. Against any beatdown deck, especially playing this deck, not a bad idea to pressure the opposite lane, whether it's a golem, a lava hound, or even another giant. You can see here the mini P.E.K.K.A actually does a pretty good job countering this deck, although it's not a meta card. Still, the poor mini P.E.K.K.A. Mini P.E.K.K.A is not going to reach that left tower there, but you can see we still did a significant amount of damage. The opponent had to use the lightning to take out that mega minion, and that's why UniEmily saved that bandit for afterwards. Obviously, when you're using the bandit and you know your opponent has lightning, you want to either space out the Mega Minion and the Bandit a lot, or you want to use them one at a time if you know your opponent is sitting on full elixir. So here we go again, and what was I just talking about, guys? Check this out. Lightning not in hand yet, a little bit late on that Furnace, either that or he's sacrificing that left tower. Now he cycles to the Lightning, and we waited on the Bandit till that Lightning was out of play. The Bandit, again, is going to take down that Furnace, already providing an immense amount of value for 3 elixir, and again, guys, she makes contact with that right tower. Check this out. It's a minor baby dragon giant push from the pocket, and we are going to take that right tower. See how strong this deck can be. Already a very strong deck. When you add in the Bandit, it just gives you that secondary support win condition like card. It's really, really, really robust, especially offensively. And check that out. Bandit is going to take down, the Miner is going to take down the tower. The Bandit almost got that last hit in there, but you know, what a great value card she is now. I love the Bandit. Can you guys tell that I have a little crush on the Bandit? I don't know. I can tell. So anyway, let's move to deck number 2, guys. So deck number 2 is going to be a Lava Hound Bandit deck, and we're going to see actually 2 versions of this deck. We're going to see one with just Lava Hound Bandit Baby Dragon. We're going to see another one with another buffed legendary card, the Inferno Dragon, who a lot of people have been telling me they've also been having a lot of success with. I have another Inferno Dragon episode that I'm working hard on that's going to be coming in the next few days as well. But for now, let's start out with the more traditional version, no Inferno Dragon. So here comes the Lava Hound placed at the very beginning. By the way, huge shout out to Messi10. First time he's been on the channel. He is one of our new contracted e-sport players in Elite Gaming. So really happy to have him on the team. He's a great guy. And speaking of Messi, here he goes. He's already going to get that Lava Hound to that right tower. At this point, only going up against a baby dragon. But once you see the Executioner, you know what's coming next. Tornado, Baby Dragon, Executioner, Tornado, still a really, really strong combo, but check this out. Now we have a Bandit and a Minion Horde, Bandit making contact, getting into that dash so quickly, and the opponent has no answer because they overcommitted to defending the solo Lava Hound there with an Executioner and a Baby Dragon and the Tornado. Once Messi saw that, being the good player that he is, look at this. He already gets the King Tower down to 1100 damage against a control deck. That is phenomenal this early inside the match. And this opponent has almost 400,000 cards won, so it's not like they're a schlub. Is a schlub an appropriate word? I don't even know. I got a lot of heat yesterday, by the way, for saying on my video, if you guys caught it yesterday, I said OP-ness. OP-ness, like the OP. Anyway, you guys really gave me a hard time, but I actually was cracking up when I was reading your comments. Speaking of your comments, really quick digression here, guys, on yesterday's video. I apologize because so many of you want to be my friend in game to play together in 2v2s and stuff. And I put it as the pinned comment yesterday, and it got filled up immediately. So what I've decided to do is every season, maybe more frequently than every season, I'm going to go ahead and just cycle out. I'm going to delete everybody on my friends list, and then I'm going to populate it again with you guys. That way everybody gets to play with me. I don't know, that doesn't sound right, but you guys get the point. And here it is. It's going to be a 3 crown for Messi 10, doing a really good job there. And look at the Bandit again, really versatile, even defensively in some situations when you need that 3 elixir distraction, either to kite an enemy unit coming your way or even to stop enemy units. She's not bad. Obviously, mainly, she's an offensive card, a support card, or a really quick dash card. So let's hop into the next replay here. This time, guys, Messi 10 is on the top of your screen, and I bet he's going to start out with another Lava Hound. Is he? Yes, he is. So Lava Hound played. I've noticed some people are playing the Lava Hound more towards the center of their map, center of the arena, and I don't know why, frankly. It's still all the pros that I'm seeing still play it off in the corner. So if some of you have kind of transitioned to playing the Lava Hound in the center for whatever reason, I'm interested to hear why you do that. I asked a few of my clanmates and no one could figure it out, but I have seen a lot of players suddenly playing the Lava Hound towards the center of the map. So here it goes again against another really popular P.E.K.K.A control deck, but guess what, guys? This is the version with the new and improved Inferno Dragon. The Inferno Dragon now targets or retargets much quicker, or 0.2 seconds quicker. Is that much quicker? And maybe not, Ash, you exaggerator, you clickbaiter. In 7% extra HP. And look at this, that extra HP allowing him to get a few hundred damage off that left tower for Messi 10. But the new Inferno Dragon, don't discount him, guys. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing a lot more Inferno Dragon in the game. So if you don't have Inferno Dragon, you can use the replay, the deck that we saw in the last replay. If you do, you can certainly use this deck as well, guys. So look at that. We get in a little bit of trouble here early on. We have our tower down to 187 HP going against this extremely viable control deck here on the bottom. This control deck, by the way, played by somebody from Nova, China or something, is really, really popular. It's been used numerous times in the Crown Championship so far. So if you're looking for a good P.E.K.K.A control deck, check out the one on the bottom here. But we were able, as you guys saw, to make a really nice strong push on that left side and take down the tower. Now the opponent plays a P.E.K.K.A in the left lane, so this is going to be interesting here. We have the Inferno Dragon, and we can play it right on top of the P.E.K.K.A. Of course, he does have Ice Spirit and Lightning, so he's able to reset that Inferno Dragon rather quickly. But check this out, guys. The Inferno Dragon's still able to get that P.E.K.K.A down to about half HP. So at this point, we're going to need some serious defense. Look at the Bandit. The Bandit's going to take out the P.E.K.K.A with the help of the Ice Spirit. That was incredible work by the Bandit Ice Spirit there, taking down a P.E.K.K.A that really could have taken down that tower had we not disposed of it. Meanwhile, the Lava Hound does make it to the tower, and we're just going to get some Lava Hound damage in the right lane there. Pups are going to take another additional 200 or 300 HP off that right tower, and we're going to use the Lightning there. So now it's anybody's game, moving into overtime with about 5 seconds left. So here we go. Another P.E.K.K.A on the board. This time we're going to counter with Baby Dragon. We're going to put that Inferno Dragon on the arena as quickly as possible, and an Ice Spirit will reset our Inferno Dragon. But that's not going to be a worry, guys. This defense is pretty strong against tanks, including the P.E.K.K.A. We have the Mega Minion that we can use. We have, of course, the Ice Spirit that we can use, and we have the Inferno Dragon. So here is a big monster push coming here. Of course, the Inferno Dragon unfortunately gets targeted really quickly there, but that's what we talked about, guys. The Bandit in the pocket makes connection with that tower. Of course, she was distracted onto that battle ram, but she did make contact to the tower, and that's going to be a quick and easy, what is it now? What's the damage that she does on her tournament level tower hits? I have to rewind, but I can't do that when I'm recording live, guys. So here comes the P.E.K.K.A at the bridge. This is going to be trouble. We're going to need the Inferno Dragon here. We can't let this P.E.K.K.A get to our tower. Instead, we have Lightning and Log ready. Boom, tower down, and Messi pulls it off there. That was a really nice victory by Messi against another good player. And I must mention, guys, all these guys, the reason I invited them to the clan, I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning of the video, is they've all gotten 12 wins with the decks that we're highlighting today. So all these players, I basically reached out to my entire clan family and I said, guys, anybody have 12 win decks with the new Bandit? And these are the guys who said yes, so these are the guys that we're covering. So we're moving on to deck number 3, guys. This is the deck by Dragonfly. So this is a classic. I want to say it is actually, I think this is the Graveyard deck, the Giant Graveyard Bandit deck. We'll have to see the rest of the cards because my notes went below my video editor, so I can't see them right now. But you can see Dragonfly is going to start out again with the Giant behind that King Tower. So this is, again, at tournament level standards. This is a great tournament deck, great challenge deck, guys, if you're looking for one. And this is indeed the Giant Graveyard with the Bandit added in. So a really cool deck to play. So here comes Bandit, and look at the Bandit flying right over that river, making contact with that bowler, and unfortunately, if that tornado was not dropped there, she would have gone ahead and killed that bowler as well. So now we know what the opponent's playing. He's playing Splash Yard with Night Witch. Speaking of Night Witch, we have one of our own. If you guys don't have Night Witch, you can sub in the Musketeer. You need a really good defensive air targeting card. And of course, while the Night Witch isn't necessarily an air targeting card, certainly her bats are. I don't know about you guys, but I think that the Night Witch is still super powerful and super viable inside the meta right now. So unfortunately, the opponent getting the better of us early on here, but not by a ton, and we're about even in Elixir. So let's see how Dragonfly plays this out. So here comes Dragonfly on the bottom, just cycling skeletons, and here it is. This is what I was waiting for, guys. It is the Bandit Graveyard combo, and look at the Bandit. She can actually distract that tower with those extra hit points there. If I can speak, quite a bit longer than she used to. And look at that push. Wasn't too bad. I mean, she only costs 3, so it's an 8 elixir push with the Graveyard, and we're able to take that left tower down to 1183 with all these decks, guys, and it should go without saying. Just be careful not to overcommit on your pushes, especially with this deck. You can have a tendency to want to drop that Giant, and then immediately drop that Bandit, and then immediately drop that Graveyard, and then you're working with a 13 elixir push. You guys got to be careful on any Graveyard deck and on any minor deck as well, that you're ready for the counter push, or you can run into a lot of trouble if you're not. So you can see, speaking of trouble here, the right tower now is down to 281 with bats incoming. A couple of them are going to make contact. Now we have to play defense in the left, and we only have Fireball, so we need a really big push here. How the heck are we going to win this one? Only 12 seconds left. We have a Giant Graveyard push coming on the left. Bowler there to defend, but Giant is going to make contact about now with 3 seconds left. The opponent takes our tower. Now it's anybody's match here, guys, and we're going to cycle skeletons and start a push in the right. We're going to try to cycle to the Giant so we can use him in the pocket, I believe, here. So let's see if that's what Dragonfly does. Indeed it is. So here comes the Giant. We already have the Witch and the Bandit coming down in the lane. The Giant is distracting that bowler and that baby dragon, facing them in the opposite direction, and check out that push. The opponent able to cycle back to that tornado, but it's not going to be enough as the E-Wiz and the bats connect to that tower. And did I say it wasn't going to be enough? I meant it's almost going to be enough. But here it is, the Bandit Graveyard, essentially with a deck like this, guys, and this is the beauty of the deck. You can just cycle Bandit Graveyard if you only have 8 elixir, or if you have 10 elixir, you can just drop the Graveyard and then the Giant right in the opponent's pocket, and that is a devastating. This deck really, really good, really powerful when you have one tower down. So don't be afraid with this deck specifically, and the first deck that we shared, to take a little bit of damage if necessary. Use your tower's HP as your asset when playing this deck. So here we go into another replay using this deck played again by Dragonfly, and this time the opponent is playing a 3 Musketeer Night Witch deck. Man, these decks can be annoying to deal with, but you can see, especially when you're going against the 3 Musketeer deck without that direct damage, you have to identify that early on, and you want to. I'm a big proponent when you're playing a beatdown deck, against a Three Musketeer deck to go ahead and commit heavily to that very first push if they drop their Elixir Collector. Now, if you're an Elixir Collector player, such as Jaren at the top here from Fusion, which is a really good clan, shout out to Fusion, by the way, you have to be very, very careful when you drop that very first Elixir Collector as the first play in the game. Me personally, I don't like to do it anymore. I don't mind dropping the Elixir Collector as the first card that I play, but if I'm going to do that, I just like to, I'm a comfort guy. I don't want to make any risky plays in the match, so I want my opponent to make the first play, and then I'll make my first play in Elixir Pump, as long as they're not going to rush me at the river, in which case I'll just defend against that rush, and then I'll play the pump. Anyway, back to this match here, guys. You can see we're already well in the lead here, Dragonfly. That right tower down to 889, the left one down to 1501, and only one of our towers having that much damage, 1141 on our right tower. And we are about to reload here, but first, we want to see what the opponent's going to play. He splits the Three Musketeers. This is going to be an incredibly lucrative fireball here on that left tower. You can see almost taking down that Elixir Pump, and both of those Musketeers on the left can now be one shot before doing any damage to that tower. So we're going to defend really heavy on the right instead. I mean, look at the right tower is what we're really worried about right now, especially defensively and offensively. The Night Witch and the Ewiz, two of the best defensive legendary cards out there, and we're going to combo it with our fourth legendary in the deck, the Bandit. Now, this is a tough deck to give legendary substitutions, guys, unfortunately. The Bandit you can replace with the Knight if you want to, or even Miner if you want to make it sort of like the first deck. But it's really tough to substitute, or even the Night Witch you could substitute if you wanted to for Baby Dragon, but it is tough to substitute the Ewiz. Just those four legendaries really synergize well, especially after the recent buffs. So we were able to get down the right tower, and now here comes a Battle Ram, a Witch, and a Miner in the right lane, but just using a Night Witch, a Bandit, and a Zap, we're going to be able to shut down this push, guys. The Bandit doing work on defense, the Night Witch doing more work on defense, and you can see we pull off the victory there. Very well done by Dragonfly. So let's move on to our fourth deck, guys, and we are kind of going a little bit long here. I don't want you guys to get too sick of me, so I will do only one replay of the last two decks, but they're both really good decks. Again, where is the one that we want to show here? Here it is. So we're going to move on to the Phyrix deck. I love Phyrix because he loves control, and he is our #1 P.E.K.K.A player, and P.E.K.K.A certainly has definitely made a comeback in the game in the control archetype. P.E.K.K.A seems to be everywhere in control right now. A better option than Inferno Tower because everybody's carrying lightning, which can easily reset and then destroy an Inferno Tower. So a lot of people have switched to P.E.K.K.A, and Phyrix is no exception to that control rule, I guess, in the game right now. So here you can see P.E.K.K.A really just shutting down this push, and even the Tornado, the Night Witch, the Baby Dragon is not going to kill the P.E.K.K.A until basically the only unit left standing or flying is the Baby Dragon. So the Baby Dragon is going to get some damage done on that right tower, but that could have been much, much worse. It was really a monster push from the enemy there. So they're playing an interesting deck, a giant Night Witch deck with Rocket, excuse me. And then Phyrix opts to use the lightning early on there. So this is a control deck, but we do have two speedy win conditions. So basically with a deck like this, if you're unfamiliar with how to play a good control deck with Battle Ram, Bandit, what you want to do is focus on defending first, hence the control, and this deck can really pull off some epic monster counter pushes. And there's one thing I have to mention to you guys. If you have a really good counter push going, so let's look at this defense right here. So the P.E.K.K.A and the Night Witch are going to be able to shut down this push really, really well. Of course, the Baby Dragon, nothing really to target or take down the Baby Dragon, as the bats are going to die almost immediately, but hopefully we'll be able to mitigate most of the damage done with this Dark Goblin here. So Dark Goblin is going to lock onto that Baby Dragon, but essentially what you want to do with this deck is you want to figure out what type of deck your opponent is playing, And then once you play a solid defensive round like that one, you want to go ahead and either play the Bandit or the Battle Ram in your counter push. And you can see Firex was able to figure out the opponent's cycle and know that there was nothing in hand besides the rocket, which you're not going to want to use on a Battle Ram. You're not going to get rid of the barbarians that way. So he was able to make contact with that right tower. The P.E.K.K.A, not largely affected by that tornado there. P.E.K.K.A doing excellent work on defense, and it's pretty much a tie ball game right here. So I love this deck. Now, what you can do here in a situation like this is you can quickly sneak in the Bandit in the left lane if you want to. And what that's going to do is, A, confuse the opponent a little bit, make them have to think quick on their feet, because you have to think quick against the Bandit. So Firex could have done that had he wanted to. Now, the rocket is incoming, so probably better that he didn't overcommit to that other lane. But the thing I want to get across here is, since you do have the Bandit, since you do have the Battle Ram, and since you do have even the, what else do you have that's fast in here? I thought you had a third fast unit here. Oh, the Dark Goblin. So you have Dark Goblin, Bandit, and Battle Ram. You have 3 cards that have to be answered really quickly by your opponent. So you can often kind of commit to a counter push and then, oh, look at that 7 HP left on that tower. Are you kidding me? This is the only replay I didn't watch beforehand, guys. So look at this. Oh, man, he just needs the zap. Okay, he got it. Wow, 7 HP. Of course, the rocket only doing 493 damage at tournament level standards, leaving 7 HP on that tower. And Firex, boy, baby, we were sweating that one out. At the end there, I was like, wait a second here. Fi, are you gonna lose this? I don't want to show a loss here, man. I mean, I do show losses on my channel, but not on it's a one replay spotlight. So anyway, let's get to the last deck of this video, guys. And this is going to be the deck by JPJ from Germany in Elite Gaming, of course. And this is going to be the Minor Poison variation with the Bandit added. Now, this is actually not a new deck at all. This is probably one of the very first Bandit decks that kind of entered into the meta very briefly when the Bandit was released. And this is probably one of the strongest decks. And again, just like Firex's deck, guys, it has that versatility and the option to go quick in the opposite lane really fast and try to take advantage of your opponent, catch them off guard. Of course, it didn't really work out there, but the Barbarians do make contact with that left tower. Of course, you have Tornado and Executioner, really the strongest defensive combination, even with the nerfed Tornado. It's now 2.5 seconds, not 3 seconds. But I'll tell you what, guys, Tornado still is going to box out defensive units in the game, in my opinion. Tornado, a better option, in my opinion anyway, over the Cannon, over the Tombstone. I really love Tornado still, even though it's 2.5 seconds. So going up against a Golem deck here, I think this is the first Golem matchup we've seen in this video, so probably a little bit late in the video to be showing our first Golem matchup. By the way, if you don't have Night Witch in this deck, you can try out the Witch if you want to. Although the pros are kind of divided, in my opinion at least, out of the ones that I've talked to, on if the new Witch is worth it yet. A lot of them say she's not. A lot of people say that the new Witch, or the old Witch newly buffed, is just still not worth it. Still not worth the 5 elixir. But you guys can be the judge of it. If you don't have Night Witch, I would try out Witch in this deck, just for the heck of it. See if it works out for you. If not, if you have the E-Wiz, go ahead and put him in there for the Night Witch. And if you don't have any of those cards, you can use the Musketeer again as a sub for the Night Witch in this deck. Of course, if you have Night Witch, use her again. She's still really strong, guys. So here we quickly take down that right tower, trying to punish the opponent when he overcommits to his pushes, and we did a really good job there. And again here, we can defend so well with this deck. So check out this push coming in, and check out how strongly, or how I don't know, how heavily JPJ is going to lean on that Executioner Tornado combination. Look at the Golem. The Golem can't even make it to the tower with full health at all, guys, and it's all thanks to that Executioner. Meanwhile, we're going to go ahead and attack the left lane with the Minor Poison Battle Ram combo. We're going to chip away at that left tower, continuing to chip away. Meanwhile, that big, strong push in the right lane, not doing much to us, guys. Not doing much. So here comes the Night Witch to defend. Night Witch on Night Witch action, as my fellow co-broadcaster Woody once said. Night Witch on Night Witch. And this push is going to be too little too late here by the opponent in the right lane, and we are going to come out with another victory. So guys, I want to hear from you. Have you tried out the new Bandit? Are you a fan of her new skills in the game? I think that she definitely will now be a tier 1 legendary card inside the game. I want to hear if you agree or disagree with me. Let me know in the comments below. Huge shout out to my 5 pros from today's video. You can see their contact information if you want to ask them about their decks in the description below. Guys, again, timestamps and deck lists are in the description below as well. As always, thank you so much for watching. Huge shout out to my YouTube partner, Bren Chong. And as always, take care, guys.